Hi there, lads and ladettes. This is Staci McLennan of Unity Peace Patrol News, which allegedly I have more one-liners. Well, I have one-liners that George Osbourne would be jealous of. And we have Josh, the comedy cameraman.
Howdy, folks.
And we have Michael, our human library, or otherwise known as the Oracle of the Law. That's what somebody has actually said about you. Or the Oracle of the Law. And I've got more one-liners I've got the one-liners that George Osbourne will possibly be jealous of.
And today
I'm surprised it's not with the Department of Transport. I mean, all those white lines.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be discussing the protest tomorrow.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
We're going to, and hopefully it's the eve of the revolution. But in light of that, ladies and gents, me and Joseph actually wrote a song. Of some of you might know it as Going Underground.
Or London Underground.
Or London Underground, yes. But we're going to do the version of London Underground, but we've taken our own little twist on it. So it goes a little something like this. Some people are unable to work. Some people drive a Beamer or a Merc. The vulnerable are standing right by us, but we can't be bothered with the Tories today. They can take a hike, because once again we're all on strike. The greedy bankers want extra pay for sitting on their arse all day, even though they earn 100k and they're pouring their taxes down the drain. Where the fuck's your fucking brain, British government?
British government.
They're all lazy, fucking useless cunts, British government.
British government.
They're all dirty cunts, I want to shoot them all with a rifle. All they say is a blessed fascist law, and they are all corporate whores. Austerity is a word that's getting old. They leave the homeless out
in the cold.
Here's what you get. Bullshit lies and mindless threats. Benefit cuts to feed the elite. I'm not paying my license fee to fund paedophile in the BBC, so don't tell me to take your crap. We want our social housing back, British government.
British government.
They're all lazy, fucking useless cunts, British government.
British government.
They're all greedy cunts, I want to shoot them all with a rifle. La 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 la.
La 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 la, Ian Duncan Smith, he thinks he's a champ, but we all know he's a fucking tramp.
But the MPs get pricing riots when we're all sanctioned again and again. David Cameron.
David Cameron.
You're a wanker.
You're a wanker.
David Cameron.
David Cameron.
Take your bedroom tax and shove it up your arsehole. I think we deserve a bit of a standing ovation. I think I don't know. I think our microphone's gone out.
I don't know. That took us about 6 hours to come up with that.
It was immense.
Going through it.
Okay, we swear a lot on it, but fuck it, you know what I mean?
But they swear a lot in the London Underground one as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, the government, they swear when they get into Parliament, but not in that way that we've done it. So yeah, we're going to dive straight into a bit of a topic with the protest, the People's Assembly protest that's happening tomorrow in London. So if any of you chaps and chaplets can get down there, just stand in peace and solidarity. And if GCHQ are listening, you're not fucking invited. Yeah, and if the government and the police are watching, you're not invited either. It's the peoples, not the robots. Anyway. Robot. I've came across something on social media in the past couple of days. There was a gentleman that actually was unlawfully arrested, and what happened was he decided he had some bail conditions, and one of them was actually to not go to this people's protest. Michael, I mean, we've discussed this extensively. I mean, there's lots of legislation that the police have actually breached. I mean, there's the European Convention of Human Rights, but there's Section 6 of the Human Rights Act as well, which is basically what that actually entails. It's better off to quote Section 6 of the Human Rights Act, and what it means is it's unlawful for a public authority. Now, a public authority, guys and chappettes, basically is the police, the council, anything that's public. There's a public authority, and they breach your convention, any convention right, then they're acting unlawfully and could potentially be committing an offence. Now, I'm going to share my screen. I have the European Convention of Human Rights downloaded, but I'm going to show you the link as well, because that's obviously fair, so you guys know where you're going with this. I'm just going to try and get to it. There we go. Don't know whether Michael can see that or not.
Yep, I can see it.
Yep. And there's the link up there. Just Google European Convention of Human Rights, or on, it will still come up. Right. What it basically is, guys, is that the government, I don't think, want you to be made aware of this, to be quite truthful. See, in this instance, I mean, in this instance especially, Michael, I think Article 5 has seriously been breached here, the right to liberty and security, and the right to a fair hearing, Article 7, which is the punishment without law. Yeah, I reckon that's been breached quite heavily in this particular case. And from what I gather, I mean, I've said this, Article 10, the right to the freedom of expression, and the freedom of assembly and association. Wouldn't you say that's a fair comment?
I mean, this is beginning to show, the government are beginning to show they're panicking. I mean, these are the actions of a government, a tyrannical government that realises that people have found out, and it's doing its utmost it's clinging on to power. I mean, my nickname for the Conservatives is the Klingons. They're just they're just as obnoxious as the Klingons on Star Trek. But the thing is, when they kind of do something and reduce their parliamentary majority, they seem to cling on to power, hence the name Klingons. Looking at the articles within the European Convention on Human Rights, I mean, I don't know which police forces were really stupid enough to do this, but I mean, any human rights lawyer is going to have a field day.
Oh yes,
They really have gone absolutely over the top. I mean, I'm just bringing up a copy of the convention now so I can read through it.
See, in my personal opinion, Michael, I'm going to bring it up in the Hangout. So obviously our lovely viewers at GCHQ can see that we know what we're talking about, and our lovely viewers that are very genuine and just want to listen in and think we're great. Hang on a sec. So many different bits on this table here. Hang on. Right, the European Convention rights that I think, in my personal opinion, have been breached. I mean, see, we have, well, obviously not the right to marry. Right. I think Article 5 absolutely has been breached here. The right to liberty and security. Right to a fair hearing. No punishment without law, which is Article 7, Article 8, Article 10, Article 11, and Article 14. That's what I think has been breached here by that constabulary.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at one, Staci.
All right.
You've got Article 5, which says the right to liberty and security. Now, if you go down to paragraph 1, C, it says. It says the lawful arrest or detention of a person effective for the purpose of bringing him before the competent legal authority. on reasonable suspicion of having committed an offence, or when it is reasonably considered necessary to prevent his committing an offence or fleeing after having done so. Well, if all the police force involved have done is make up charges or make up evidence to justify arresting somebody,
Yeah.
they are really pushing it, but also they are breaking the law. And when you've got a police force that breaks the law, that is when you've got a complete breakdown in society.
Absolutely.
You've also you've got a completely lawless law enforcer. The law enforcers become the law breakers, and I mean, I'm sorry, but that is what's happened here. It says here, I mean, there is one paragraph 1F. It says the lawful arrest or detention of a person to prevent his effecting an unauthorised entry into the country, or of a person against whom action has been taken with a view to deportation or extradition. If they're trying that with people who are EU nationals, unless they got the evidence, they're down a very sticky wicket legally.
They're going to meet a sticky end, aren't they? To be quite honest, not like I don't mean that in a a very derogatory sense.
The thing is, if you go down a little bit further in Article 5, paragraph 3 says everyone arrested or detained in accordance with the provisions of paragraph 1C of this article should be brought promptly before a judge or other officer authorised by law to exercise judicial power and should be entitled to trial within a reasonable time or to release pending trial. Release may be conditioned by guarantees to appear for trial. That's all it says.
So basically,
when you're making conditional, sorry,
is that bail conditions? I take it, yeah.
Yes, but the thing with bail conditions, if you're going to ask for restricted bail conditions, you have got to be able to justify them, and you've got to be able to provide evidence to a court to say, right, this is why we are opposing bail on for whatever reason. Because a court, it has to be very, very mindful that that person at that point has not been proven to have committed an offence. So therefore, they are innocent until proven guilty.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Which is contained in Article 6. And this is where these numpties, and I've got a feeling this is going to turn around and fight the Chief Constable and the officers on their backside. I don't know which police force it is, but I can see there being a number of very hasty resignations when the proverbial hits the air conditioning. Unless somebody turns around and said, right, the lot of you are sacked. You're dismissed without notice for gross misconduct. I mean, that is, breaking the law, like Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act 2015. That is gross misconduct. Putting aside any criminal prosecution against officers who breached Section 26. I mean, the Chief Constable or the Police and Crime Commissioner is quite within their rights to say, all right, okay, you're leaving. That is gross misconduct. You've broken the law. Out you go. Article 6 now.
Article 6.
Article 6, paragraph 2 says everyone charged with a criminal offence shall be presumed innocent until proved guilty according to law. Now, the trouble is we've got police officers who have deluded themselves, and I suspect that there are politicians who are just as deluded and think
they probably act on the size of, I mean, for the males and male coppers in particular. I think when they do get that uniform on, Michael, I mean, I'm not saying this as yourself, I'm saying this as officers that I know within the Northamptonshire area. They basically, once they put that uniform on, and this comes back to a conversation we had about a guy with a Lamborghini, I think they're using that as a penis extension.
That does remind me of a case when I was in London when somebody was seen hammering down a certain road in Victoria towards a bridge at in excess of the speed limit. Well, the driver was pulled in. I think it was a Maserati or a Lamborghini, and there was a policewoman kind of said, "Do you know what speed you were doing?" He said, "I couldn't give a thing what speed I was doing." He said, "I'm not hurting anybody." She said, "Look," she said, "I didn't give a toss if you're driving a penis extension." She said, "You were going too fast, and if you had to brake sharply, you'd have lost control. You could have killed yourself. You still got a ticket, Well, we didn't. Then they got reported for process. Yes, he did get taken to court. And yes, he did get points on his license, and he got quite a substantial fine. But during the hearing before the magistrates, there was a stipendiary magistrate with the Court of District Judges now. The defending solicitor stood up and said to the policewoman, "Is it true you refer to my client's car as a penis extension?" We were kind of looking at the magistrate, and he was looking down at the bench, and we could just see his shoulders shaking, and he kind of looked up, looked at the solicitor, down went his. I mean, he was killing himself laughing. But he managed to regain his composure. I mean, this particular.
I don't think I would have been able to.
This particular magistrate was he was strict, but he was fair. You went in front of him and you got a fair hearing, and he was strict with everybody, defence and prosecution, and yes, he made sure everything was done fairly, and he got a lot of respect from all quarters. But how he managed to kind of deliver his verdict without kind of deteriorating into laughing, I'll never know. But after they left, I mean, he just sat back in his chair and burst out laughing. And he said, "I have never ever sat on a case so funny." He said, "Did you actually?" He turned to he kind of said to the police, "Did you actually call his car a penis extension?" She said, "Yes, I did." I mean, then he could just completely lost it. But it was justice, as you can gather. Justice does have its funny side.
It does.
It does have its funny side. Police work has its funny side, and that was one of them. And I hope you enjoyed it. Right, going back to the European Convention on Human Rights. We've got Article 9, which is the freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. Yeah, you're allowed to, because that's what it's all about. This.
What about Article 7? Because we don't know. Because all I've seen literally was a picture, and for the life of me, I can't remember where I saw it, what social media outlet I saw it on, but it said, "Do not attend the protest on the People's Assembly protest."
Yeah, it was not to attend the People's Assembly in London Central on the 20th of June.
Who was saying this?
It was on someone's bail sheet, like when you get charged.
I have got a feeling what we're going to find is come Sunday or Monday, they're going to say, "Oh, we're not taking any further action. You're released from your bail." Then that is when the police are really going to get crucified. They have really been very, very silly, and so is the government.
I think even these people who've been given these bail conditions, I don't think that they're stupid enough to actually listen.
I don't think those bail conditions are actually lawful.
No,
I do not think. My honest opinion. I was a policeman for 9 years, but I've studied law, and since I left. So I mean, I've got quite a lot of legal knowledge to call on. In my experience, it is on the police have acted unlawfully.
Michael, I don't think the people who've been given these bail conditions are actually going to follow them.
That is yet to be seen.
Can't really make that assumption, can we?
No, but
if the arrests were unlawful, what we call ultra vires ab initio.
Yeah.
Which is a Latin term. It means ultra vires means beyond the law, and ab initio means from the outset. It means they were bogus arrests to start with. If you go doing that, then you've got no right to sort of restrict a person's, and you've got to have a lawful reason. And it's not just, "Oh well, we'll just stop them going to a protest," and that's the only reason why. Wrong. You've got to be able to justify it, and you've got to have a good reason, because a court can hold you and say, "Right, why did you do that? What are your grounds for doing so?" And if you've got a judge, or you've got a bench of magistrates who aren't going to take any bullshit, they're going to make the police stand there in the witness box and say, "Right, prove to us that was lawful." And that police officer can't. That police officer's in serious trouble, because that is then perverting the course of justice, and the CPS are going to get in the neck as well.
What about Article 7, no punishment without law?
No, that only applies. No, that Article 7, that only applies where new laws are brought in. You can't apply them retrospectively.
Right. Okay, that's fine.
That's what that means. You can't. It says, well, paragraph 1 says, no one shall be held guilty of any criminal offence on account of any act or omission which did not constitute a criminal offence under national or international law at the time when it was committed. Now, the only exception to that rule are war crimes.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
that is the only exception under international law, and that is recognised right across the world. There are numerous conventions that have been signed on war crimes that came out of the Nuremberg trials after the Second World War. But no, those are the only offences, crimes against humanity, that can be applied retrospectively.
Well, what about Ian Duncan-Smith? Would he be? I reckon he'd be up for charges of crimes against humanity, and David Cameron.
He probably will. He probably will. It'd be interesting to see what ones get brought against him. Genocide. Genocide is a possibility.
Very big possibility. Very big, considering he's killing. Well, he's basically been responsible for killing people, for the deaths of people because of the benefit cuts.
What you can do there, I mean, that ex-soldier who was deprived of cash to keep his insulin.
Oh God, that put my heart in my mouth when I read that.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that could well turn out to be manslaughter or manslaughter or murder by gross negligence on the part of the DWP. It could also be assault. It could also be unlawful wounding. It could also be malicious wounding. Now, this is where the government really, and individual ministers, secretaries of state, and individual civil servants are going to have to be. And it doesn't matter whether they've used contractors, because if those contractors are acting on behalf of the government department, they can be held to account as well.
Absolutely.
They want to be very, very careful, because the civil servants, the politicians, they can be done under common law for misconduct or under in public office, in particular malfeasance, because obviously there appears to be an element of malice involved, and
Absolutely.
that is very, very serious indeed. Now, if there was a general agreement that that's what they would do, they would cause harm to people, then yes, I mean they're on a very sticky wicket. It's going to be very difficult for them to any decent judge won't even let them try and argue their way out of a paper bag. He'll just say, right, you've either got a defence or you haven't. What's your defence?
Like, what's your defence for basically being charged with murder, but then and starving people to death, but eating a £39 breakfast on the taxpayer? That's what
that to my mind is it's taking the piss.
That is. I mean, 39 quid. We discussed this last night, didn't we, Michael?
You'd live off a week for 39 quid.
Well, yeah, you could. Well, yeah, you could. A single person could probably live very well for 39 quid.
There's a cafe in the Drake Stickers shopping mall in Plymouth. Just as you come into Plymouth City Centre from the east, which is the direction of Exeter. I mean, there's a cafe on the level 1 where you can buy a 6-item breakfast for £4.95.
Yep. And so, you know what?
To my mind, Ian Duncan-Smith should be made to pay that £39 back.
I tell you what,
he's got no excuse. He's got absolutely no excuse. If he's trying to screw down benefit claimants and accusing them of being scroungers, well, hold on a minute. Who is the biggest scrounger around? Him, because he's £39 for a breakfast which he should have paid for himself out of his own pocket, and then but £39 he is taking the mickey. I mean, a fiver, yeah, 39, no way.
I mean, he shouldn't even. I'm not being funny, Michael. Yeah, you should if you pick. I've read into the hotel where it said that he was staying at. Now, I can't remember the name off me for the life of me, but there's £39 for a breakfast. I'm not being funny when I say this, but what kind of, I bet you This is what I'd like. The Asda Smart Price sausages. I don't eat meat, right? I don't eat it. I haven't eaten it for 5 years, right? So they're probably using Asda Smart Price bogus sausages and probably laughing their asses off to the bank anyway on us, cheeky bastards. But Ian Duncan Smith is going, yeah, put it on my expense account. I think they could have maybe fuel expenses, maybe. I don't think they should have any expenses whatsoever. They earn enough, they can pay for it out of their own pocket, and we pay them, and they get expenses as well. What?
Right.
What?
There needs to be there needs to be a clampdown.
Absolutely. See,
there needs to be a clampdown, and what they need to be given is what the civil servants are given, which is subsistence. And what that means is they draw what they call an imprest, which is a sum of money. They call it subsistence, and that covers them for accommodation costs and also for food. And I
don't think that should happen. They've abused it enough.
Well, no. We used to have this when I was in the police. If we were going, to court, away from our station. Now, I was based in Plymouth, and I had to go to court in Newbury, which is in Berkshire.
Oh.
Although the MOD have a hostel at a place called Aldermaston, near the atomic weapons, the atomic research establishment at Aldermaston in Hampshire, they do charge, because obviously they've got to pay for the upkeep of the place, lighting, heating, the gas for the kitchens, for the canteen there. So yes, they do charge you, because it's a bit like a hostel. As I said, it's a hostel, and civil servants can go there if they're going to say ARE, Aldermaston, or anywhere like that. They can stay there. It's better than going to a commercial hotel and paying a whacking right sum of money. Then I think it was about something like £12 a night, and then you bought your breakfast separately, and that was usually subsidised anyway. So, but what the government would do is they would give you a sum of money to help pay for that. So they were keeping a very close watch on what was going out of the taxpayers' pocket. And also it was very good for stopping bogus claims. Because during my time, I saw a number of claims which, quite frankly, would have had the Brothers Grimm spinning in their graves. They were a work of fiction, some of them, but by kind of giving people a sum of money called subsistence to pay for things like that, it did keep bogus claims down quite significantly. So yes, although it sounds like they're scrounging off the taxpayer, actually by doing that, you are saving, in the long run, you're saving the taxpayer money by reducing the scope for fraud, fraudulent expenses claims. If it's good enough for the civil servants, then it's good enough for secretaries of state like Ian Duncan Smith, his ministers, and people like George One Line Osbourne and Cameron. Yes, I almost mix those two up. But no, what's sauce for the goose is also sauce for the gander, and that's how it should be. They should be, and I've heard other people say this. They should be given subsistence the same as the civil servants, slightly higher rate. We said, right, okay, you're going there. They do it all in advance. So they said, right, okay, there's the money to pay for it, or right, send us the invoice once this is out, once they've been there, and we'll pay it within 7 days.
Yeah. So even
do that, the government would then have a very close control over costs of running government.
I think Ian Duncan Smith should be made to pay that £39 back plus interest.
I agree with you entirely, Josh, because to go on TV like something like Question Time and things like ITV News or BBC News or whatever news channel, and accuse benefit claimers of being scroungers when he's that's really hypocrite, and he's gone on to claim £59 for a breakfast that he could have bought for a £5, less than a £5.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm employed, right?
I've got the
Now,
YouTube.
I don't care that I'm telling pretty much the world this.
Doesn't matter. It's nobody's. It's no. It's at the end of the day. You shouldn't have to justify yourself at all.
Now, if I'll admit, right. Say I need money, right, so I can pay my rent or something. I take out an advance payment claim. I have to pay that back out of my benefits.
Yes.
So why should he not have to pay it back?
For those of you that didn't see the bit where Ian Duncan Smith gets owned, because completely he does, and gets called a scrounger by Salma Yaqub on BBC Question Time. Here it is for your enjoyment.
Well, I don't know, Tessa, if you feel a lot better with that little pat on the head you got from Ian, but there are people in this country, 13 million people, who are now below the poverty line. 1 million people in one of the richest countries in the world face the indignity of relying on food banks. My full-time job is actually in mental health. I have seen myself how people have become suicidal. I have had to counsel people who have lost their loved ones, who said they did not want to be a burden on their own families because the support has been taken away. These are very, very real issues. And it's been done in the name of austerity. And we've had this drive of people being called scroungers. And actually half the people on benefits are pensioners. Our pensioners in this country are not scroungers.
And the Liberal Democrats in this, because you answer your own questions all the time.
60% of people claiming benefit are in work.
Yes.
Just because the wages are not paying enough
Did you
to
say
feed their
30 million
families.
people are below the poverty
13
line?
million
13.
people.
Can you
1 million people. And yet I'm sitting next to Ian Duncan Smith, who quite happily labels the poor people as scroungers. When you claim £39 just for a breakfast, like you can't afford your own breakfast, when you live on your wife's estate and have taken £1.5 million of taxpayers' money, that's what I call scroungers. That's what I call scroungers.
Had to applaud her there. She had some balls.
Yeah, that lady has balls, but it just shows how arrogant Ian Duncan Smith is. He's so far out of touch with reality, it's unbelievable. I did notice another video there. It said Ian Duncan Smith is a psychopathic something wanker. Yeah, a murdering psychopathic wanker or something like that. I thought, yes, there's some truth in that.
See, the way I look at it, is, Michael, that woman was spot on. Yeah. There are more people with mental health issues and getting seriously depressed. And I mean, I think there's a group on social media. I won't mention it because I don't obviously want to get them into any bother because of GCHQ, even though we know GCHQ are watching them all the time. There was a man that started a group on Facebook to help people get through difficult times with bailiffs and things like that. And the reason why he made that group and the reason why it's so successful, he's made this publicly known. The man hung himself because he couldn't take the bullying and the intimidation anymore. And that is enough in itself. Michael, you know which group I'm on about.
No, I've got a reasonably good idea.
Yeah. And it's just sad. And the way I look at it is Ian Duncan Smith, if you are listening to it, if you've got your little friends from GCHQ to listen to this, or is something directly to you. I've got mental health issues. I've been at that brink. I've been at that brink to and fro. And you want to name the country's pensioners, most vulnerable people in society, scroungers, take a long, good, hard look in the mirror. Even though we know it will crack because you're an ugly cunt. You know what I mean?
You look like a fucking bulldog, mate.
He looks like a bulldog that's chewed a wasp, but a cinema screen head. Ugh. Sorry, I like going personal. As you've noticed, Michael.
Yeah, sometimes I mean you've got to get personal with people like Ian Duncan.
Yeah, I've got a cinema screen head.
That is the only way you will get through to him. Just how out of touch with reality he is.
Even in that video, Michael.
Yeah, how psychopathic he is and how malevolent his behaviour is.
See, the way I look at it is, even in that video, he didn't give a flying fuck. He didn't care.
No, he was just trying to make out that the woman was. He was trying to deny everything. I mean, it didn't go down at all well because he actually did himself more damage his reputation more damage, and showed the Tories up for an uncaring, arrogant, and corrupt bunch of individuals that they are, and people have known about for years. But the thing is now, I mean, he went on national TV in front of 2 million viewers and proved it quite ably. Thank you very much, Ian Duncan-Smith, for proving to us just that the Conservative Party is so self-centred. It's
yeah. 1 minute, Mike. I've got the corruption watchdog. He's been a bit naughty. I'm just gonna let him away from his corner. Hang on. 2 seconds. If you could take over, that'd be a really big help.
Well, Staci is sort of doing her canine duties with her dog. Going back to the European Convention on Human Rights, there are some important articles that Staci was about to cover before the dog decided to interrupt her train of thought. And it's going back to these illegal arrests by the police and stopping people from going down to the austerity march in London tomorrow. I mean, Article 10, freedom of expression. Everybody has a right to the freedom of expression. That doesn't give the police the right to stop people expressing what they think about a government. Article 11, freedom of assembly and association. Well, unless you can prove that those people are likely to start up a riot, you're on very sticky, you're on very dangerous ground. I have also Article 14, which is Article 14, which is the prohibition of discrimination. But I think it's the two articles that are really going to drive and hammer the message home to the government and also to the police. Are Article 17. That prohibits the abuse of human rights, and it says very simply, nothing in this convention may be interpreted as implying for any state, group, or person any right to engage in any activity or perform any act aimed at the destruction of any of the rights and freedoms set herein or at their limitation to a greater extent than is provided for in the convention. And then Article 18 which is limitation on the use of restrictions on rights. It says the restrictions permitted under this convention to the said rights and freedoms shall not be applied for any purpose other than those for which they have been prescribed. So, well done, whichever police force it was. You basically breached umpteen articles under the European Convention on Human Rights. Under Section 6 of the Human Rights Act 1998.
Yep.
That means that you've acted unlawfully on a number of points. It means the police force can be sued. The chief constable can be sued. Not only that, they have potentially committed misfeasance or even misconduct in public office by ordering those people to be arrested. And if it was a senior officer, then they should remember that the Police and Crime Commission, if they don't approve, could well order their immediate dismissal. Now, as for the individual officers themselves, well, they could be dismissed with immediate effect for gross misconduct, because obviously making a completely bogus arrest is not only a civil tort, which is a wrongdoing, it's also a criminal wrongdoing. It's a criminal offence. It's called kidnapping, it's called assault, and it's called unlawful detention and unlawful imprisonment. Now, this is why the police and the politicians really do need to stop being so silly. Because if they start making it too obvious, they shouldn't be surprised if the people start resorting to the High Court, the Queen's Bench Division, and saying, right, we want this lot out, and they petition to have the election rerun. And the Queen's Bench Division, they deal with what they call election petitions. So I think Eagle Peggle wants to be very, very careful, because I've got a feeling tomorrow is going to be a turning point in this country's history.
I think it is.
I've got a feeling it's going to be, and I mean, this reached a point now where the British people have had just about enough, and they're saying no more, and Cameron's doing his fingers in his ears and la la la, I'm not listening except to the bankers.
No.
And what I've got a feeling is going to happen is tomorrow. So this March tomorrow is going to drive home to him. Look, you've got no legitimacy. You've only got 24% of the vote. You haven't got a mandate to govern. Get your backside out of the Houses of Commons, the House of Commons, or the Houses of Parliament. We don't want you as our government anymore. We're going to set up our own. So bugger off. And if he's stupid enough to do what I think he might try and do, then he really will have lost the plot completely. And that is when Britain will become a pariah state across the world. But I've got a feeling that what is going to happen is that something's going to happen in the next 48, 72 hours, which is going to it's just going to reverberate right the way around the world. I've got a feeling something's going to happen. I can't quite put my finger on it yet, but I've got a feeling something's going to happen, stemming out of coming out of that March tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's going to send shockwaves around the world, and I've got a feeling it's going to change this world in a way that not even these one world order and new world order cretins ever anticipated. I think it's going to take these new world order, this or whatever they like to call themselves, Bilderbergers or new world order. I think it's going to present them with a massive shock, and it's not going to be a shock in the way of pleasant shock. It is going to be an awful shock for them.
It is a shock.
I don't think they realise just how much people know about what they've done, their malevolence, their murders, murdering people. Child abuse. They seem totally oblivious.
Mm-hmm.
Or they do, but the thing is, they seem to be waking up to the fact that the people have found out and they're coming after them. And I think the next few days is going to be very, very significant.
I feel it is. Here's something that the mainstream media have decided to demonize this march. Well, like they say in the V for Vendetta film, it's not their job to fabricate the news. That's the government's job.
They always do this, Staci. I mean, they always try and make out that they're the
picture.
The protesters are the bad guys. No, it's not. It's the reason they're doing it. The thing is, too many people from all walks of life are beginning to support them. Even the police are beginning to realise that.
Yeah. See,
if you've got the Metropolitan Police and the City of London Police decide to behave like dickheads, which is a possibility, given what they did the last time, then they could have a problem on their hands. I'm not going to say there's going to be violence, but I've got a feeling that the police could well find themselves ending up being locked up in their own handcuffs.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling that I would never be surprised to see coppers being grabbed by protesters at their own and being basically entrapped in their own handcuffs.
Yeah.
That would be quite. I mean, it would be quite funny to look at, but it's not a case of it's anarchy. Well, anarchy is not actually complete breakdown in law and order. Anarchy is what you get when a government exists in fear of the people. It's a type of it's actually democracy. But tyranny is when the people fear their government. But no, anarchy stroke democracy. Yeah, they say when a government fears the people, you've got democracy or anarchy.
Well, see, the thing is, the way I look at it is, Michael, is I've got an anarchy flag, and I will fly it as proud as anything. I mean, I'm only 5'2". There's going to be a lot of people taller than me there. I'm just going to fucking put my hand up and fly the fuck around. If
we see a flag with with an anarchy symbol on it, and it doesn't seem to have anybody holding it, we think, oh, look, there's a ghosty kind of going in the
So we better not get Josh to raise it.
Or it might be that you've got a new talent apart from psychometry of being able to levitate flags and say, oh, look, no hands.
No hands. We're going to be banner making short, like after the broadcast as well, before I got jet off back to work again. But I don't know. I mean, even just the flag on its own would be a good one. I've got some air horns. You know, I mean, we've got copies of Section 26. I mean, what more can we be armed with?
I should reckon Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act is going to be the most powerful weapon there is.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get as many copies as I can. And like, if people can download it on the smartphones, then cool. I'm going to like hand it out on the coach that I'm going on and stuff. So I'm gonna see if like the organisers like have ever been made aware of it, and just say, look, you guys can have it. Hand it out to as many people as you can. If not, you can download it on your smartphone.
Yeah, if anybody's listening and or watching this on YouTube, if you go to www.legislation.gov.uk, and that takes you to the legislation archive for British law. There's a little search engine at the top of the page. If you put Criminal Justice and Courts Act and then 2015, that'll bring up the list of contents within that act, and just click on Section 26. Now you can download that provision as a PDF file.
Yeah.
Or you can print it off straight from the web page. It's best really to print it off as a PDF file. And the reason I'm saying that is because the page itself has the royal cipher, which is the sort of lion and the unicorn supporting a shield. And with the words Dieu est mon droit, God on my right, underneath it. Now, that's also got the Criminal Justice and Courts Act underneath it. It's about 2 pages to print off. But, I mean, if you've got plenty of copies of that and you hand it to a police officer like that and they see that, and they start reading it, it says, under the word criminal justice, it's got offences involving police or prison officers. And then they get back down to, I think it's subsection something. Yeah, I think it's subsection 6.
Subsection.
But yeah, it is. It's subsection.
I think the thing is as well. What really gets
subsection 2. I think Staci's found that when they get down to subsection 2, it says a police constable guilty of an offence under this section is liable on conviction on indictment to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 14 years or a fine or both. Now, I think as Staci has said over and over quite a few times,
yeah.
When they get to that, they either go white as a sheet, their backside start playing tunes, or the contents of their bowels empty onto the pavement.
Yeah, and I've seen it ever since I've used it. About 6 or 7 times I've used it, and every time they've left me alone. So
yeah. Now I have heard of a case where somebody went into a police station and a sergeant was saying, "Oh," and he started reading it, and he nearly fell off his chair, and he wasn't laughing when he nearly fell off his chair. To put a finer point on, he shit himself. There was another inspector somewhere, I think it was down in the southeast of England.
Yeah.
He was leaning on a counter, reading it. He got to section 2, and the guy said you could hear this from the other side of the counter. He was scared, and I think there was a case where I think there's one that you came across, wasn't it, Staci? Where an inspector was quite concerned that they'd received no training in this. And he was
and that was the freedom of information request that I'd done.
Yeah, funny enough, there are quite a few. There are still decent and honest officers still in the police force. Unfortunately, they're dwindling in their numbers. I mean, my cousin, her husband is just about to leave the one of the police forces in the southern half of the country, and he said it's not like it was when he joined the police force about 30 odd years ago. It's gone right. It's kind of going downhill rapidly.
He said
the corruption by the government of trying to force them to outsource to firms like G4S, Serco, and Capita. He said when you actually look at it, he said we can do it ourselves in-house a lot cheaper. But he said they're bloody guaranteeing them to rip off the taxpayer. He said, it's not on. He said, and we know they're cheating. He said, but we're told, no, 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 you can't. I mean...
Oh, the famous common purpose, isn't it? Leading out of your authority. Yeah. You know?
Well, I've got a excuse me. I've got a slogan. I'd like everybody to take this up. Make common purpose common knowledge.
Absolutely.
And what I mean by that, and if GCHQ are listening, you can pass this on to Julia Middleton, because I have no doubt she will be tearing her hair out. And if she wears a wig, she'll probably tear that off and probably throw it across the room. We are, the people of this country we now know why things have been going tits up for the last 20 or 30 years. And we know the common purpose is behind it. We are not going to put up with it anymore. There are people around the country, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people, who are finding out every day exactly what is going on in their local authorities, in their local hospitals, police forces, and other government departments involving so-called graduates of common purpose. We're identifying those people every day. We are identifying their malfeasance and criminal behaviour and fraudulent behaviour as well. We will expose you. We will make sure that you and your members all face justice. That is not swinging from a lamppost. It is not getting your head kicked in. You will go to prison. So stop it, or into jail you are going. And if you don't think it's going to happen, I can tell you it's going to.
I think with common purpose, there's a video on my Facebook that I found, and I've shared like mad. It's to the parents of these. I'm going to find it because I think this is it's about 20 minutes long, but I'll get to the bit where it's.
There is one on the Common Purpose Exposed website, which shows Julia Middleton. Yeah, it's quite gut-wrenching actually, because she's so casual and cocky and arrogant. You feel like thinking, God, I want to smash her in the face.
Hang on a second. Why is that not? Hang on a second. I think I muted it by accident.
People choose to blindly follow it because they don't understand children, and I'm totally aware of.
I'll put this up in the broadcasting station, because I think this really needs to get out there. I think her words, there's no truer word is spoken than this lady, you know. Absolutely brilliant. Michael, can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it perfectly. That's Danielle Laverity.
Absolutely brilliant. I've only just came to know of her through the past couple of days. So I'll go on and.
Now, there's the odd time when my son's a little bit cheeky to me. All children are cheeky to their parents, but I would stake my life on the fact that my son would never, in a million years, ever be rude to a teacher, because he's frightened of them. They are intimidating. And when I mentioned the fact that intimidating children into compliance wasn't really a great idea, the response was incredible. They literally shit their pants, became incredibly aggressive, and said to me, "We do not intimidate children." Well, I beg to differ, because from where I was sitting, that was exactly what was going on. I spent about 20 minutes listening to these people try and tell me that my son should be complying to exactly what they say. They actually said to me, "We have a system that needs to be followed." No, you have a system. If people choose to blindly follow it because they don't understand what that system's about, that's their lookout. But when you've got a parent in front of you who does know the system, it's not going to wash. So we got to a stage where basically these people said, well, we're not going to resolve this because you're not going to accept our explanation. The teacher later backed down and did backtracked and basically said that no, my son wasn't rude to her, which I knew in the first place. So basically, she tried to cover her own arse yet again, and I've seen this many times with teachers who lie through their back teeth when it comes to being confronted by a parent over what a child has allegedly said. So this got me thinking, basically, for the people that aren't aware, schools are run like a Nazi regime. They are basically set up like open prisons, okay? Now, you might find some of this information a little bit tinfoily hat, but this is, I'm telling you how it is. It's basic, it's exactly what is going on in our school system. Our children are like prisoners to an extent. They are told that they absolutely must conform. They're told when they can and can't go to the toilet. They have a sign put round their neck saying they're going to the toilet. Now, we're told that this is the case because it's for safety purposes. No, it's to humiliate children. They are all expected to behave like sheep in a herd mentality. They are a statistic. They are not individuals. They are actively suppressed and told that they mustn't think for themselves. They absolutely have to behave in a way that the regime tells them to. To me, that's the punishment you get when you go to jail for committing crimes.
Absolutely.
And this is what children, primary school age children, are being treated like. They're being treated like murderers and burglars and God knows what else, because they're expected to live up to this regime.
I'm just going to skip this to the bit where she talks about common purpose. I should have really took note of how many minutes we're in, but
what they learn, what they are taught, is bullshit, utter bullshit. And if you've got any sense, when your children get home, you will unteach them everything that has been soaked into their poor little brains. Now, a lot of these teachers are trained in something called common purpose. Now, if you don't know what common purpose is, I suggest you very, very quickly find out. It is one of the most dangerous weapons that the system has. If you buy into common purpose, you are fucked. Literally, it is a disaster, an absolute disaster, and it is being rolled out in every section of society. It is a horrible, awful system that makes people believe, yet again, that they've got some kind of control and power. No. Run like the wind. Do not join movements. Joining a movement is the worst thing you can ever do. They are always infiltrated. Now, there are teachers, I'm not saying all of them, but there are teachers that are trained in common purpose. Half of them don't even know that they've been trained in common purpose. And they're wheeling this shit out in your schools to your children. It is lethal, okay? Now, you are also intimidated by these schools when you actively tackle them head on regarding this system. And I know of a lot of people who've been threatened with social services, or who've actually had social services stand on their doorsteps or interview their kids in school because their parents have actively said, do not treat my child like a sheep. Do not tell.
Because of the timing, obviously, I will share that link within, within Unity Peace Patrol News, Facebook and Twitter. But Michael, I mean, I think that's a very good basic gist of what common purpose is.
Yeah, it is. What I like about Sharon Neal is she tells it as it is.
Yeah.
She's one of these people that kind of, pretty face, but also she's a lady with balls. She tells it exactly as it is. She doesn't kind of pull any punches. I did notice up on there as top tossers of the week. Yeah, well, I'd like to nominate Common Purpose for top tossers of the decade.
I'd like to nominate Linda Hipkiss of Corby Borough Council, who has tried to take a relative of mine to court for a liability order for 50 quid. Linda Hipkiss, expect me to be writing to your CEO of the council, and for somebody that has no, pardon my language here, Michael, and the viewers that are listening, fuck you. Linda Kipkiss, a single mother, is a vulnerability. I have dealt with so many people coming to me that have children that are on benefits, and they're not benefits, they're fucking entitlements. Sorry, Michael, I'm getting riled up because it's a relative of mine. Single parents are a vulnerability. And that is something that's really wound me up, is because she says that it's an insult to every single parent out there.
Yeah, that's common purpose speak.
How the fuck would she know? And I've recorded you, Linda Kipkiss, and I'm playing it to your CEO. I'm getting a meeting with the fucker. There we go. So I think when it comes to my relative, and I basically torn the arse of a council, 4 hours before court, Linda? And you say you're going to secure a debt? Oh my fucking arse, you are.
The thing is, I think it's beginning to become blindingly obvious now that there is absolute fraud involved in the court system. I mean, you ask a court, was there a hearing? No. Do you have any record of it? No. Are you saying the council? No, I think so. There was somebody who admitted, and it was recorded. Oh no, we just hired the court we hired the court to the council. And you're thinking, you could. That's in your wildest dreams, and this bloody court officials admitting openly, oh yes, we hire it, and they deal with it, and you're thinking, yes. Yeah,
I have a full admission from a listings officer, and do you know what? I'm willing to put myself on the front line and make it open. It will be on Unity Peace Patrol News, YouTube channel, and it will be. I will have a full admission into. They've actually said they do not even hold the paperwork, Michael, and you've even heard it yourself.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if that goes out across if that goes viral, I mean, yeah, the government is stuffed. The government is stuffed, and just about every local authority is stuffed.
Well, put it this way: I've just stopped, for this relative. I hope she doesn't mind that I've said this, and I'm keeping her anonymous. But what I did was I called the council 4 hours before the court, and I spoke to this Linda Hipkiss's manager, and she's common purpose as well. And when I asked her do you know anything about common purpose? She cacked her pants, absolutely cacked her pants. And I tell you what, I hope you're ready. I hope you go to work every day with an extra pair of underwear, possibly 2 pairs, just in case. Because every time I call, every time I come into that council, I am going to expose you all, every single one, not just with Corby, with Kettering. I'm yet to get Wellingborough. They're staying very close under the radar, but I will get there. I've had Northampton. I'm exposing them at the minute. So it's not just my local. And I've done it to other councils that are nowhere near me. I've done it. So it's in councils, it's in social services. Social services have even forged signatures. So there we are. Northamptonshire County Council, expect me, personally.
It's a bit like the anonymous slogan, we are anonymous, we are legion, we do not forgive, we do not forget.
I don't forgive that.
Well, this is East Anglia's version of anonymous. It's called Staci McLennan. Expect me.
Expect me. I'm passionate.
I'll be back.
I tell you, when I first heard about common purpose and Michael was there, I read into it and I cried like a baby.
I know you did, because I was speaking to you on Skype, and I won't go into the what was actually said, because obviously it was quite painful for Staci, and I don't want to kind of resurrect that. But when that realization hits you that something that's happened to you or members of your family has been down to some lovely little shits, and that's putting it mildly.
And it's not
what you want to do is kind of go running out of your front door, jump in your car or jump on the nearest bus, go straight in, kick the bloody door of their office in, grab all of them and rip their throat out. That's what you. I'll tell you this now. That is the sort of thing.
That was near enough my words, wasn't it?
Yeah, that I can tell you, having spoken to people who found that common purpose were behind something that's happened to them or a member of their family. The thought that seems to go through the head is wanting to go and rip the perpetrator's throat out. Now, I'm afraid that ripping their throat out may kind of get rid of that
feel
person,
better.
but it won't solve the problem. You're better off putting that person in front of a court made up of individuals who are independent and haven't been contaminated by common purpose, and have them tried by their 12 of their peers.
Yeah.
And then see them sent to prison for a very long time.
But see, the thing is, Michael,
individuals need to be aware that what they're doing amounts to a very serious offence in English law. It's called, in some cases, misconduct in public office, and in other cases, it could even be things like murder, manslaughter, causing death by gross negligence, fraud. We may even be, in some cases, we're even talking about forgery and being an accessory to forgery.
Aiding and abetting and paedophilia.
Yeah, paedophilia. I mean, some of these people are covering up sexual abuse in children as young as 2. That carries an automatic life. That carries a life sentence, a maximum of life. If it's a child that young, that is any child under 13. It's classed as statutory rape of a child, and it is a life sentence. You can expect to get up to life for doing something like that. So anybody, and these social workers who get involved in unlawfully removing children from their families, that is kidnapping, it is abduction, and it is trafficking. Those carry substantial prison sentences.
I've had people, like that one video alone, Michael, I've had people come to me via message, that private message, text message. Some of them have my mobile number. Like most of the people on my Facebook do have my mobile number. And they've said, oh, thanks very much for sharing that. I mean, I told a relative of mine about Common Purpose yesterday. And to be quite truthful, she was very dismissive to the idea at first. But when I started mentioning personal things to her that I can see that Common Purpose have done to her, she said these very words: they fucking ruined my life. And that is something brutal to hear from a family member. So imagine, I'm not doing it just for my family here, I'm doing it for so anybody that feels that Common Purpose has fucked them over in the Northamptonshire area, come forward. I've got 5 cases for social services. 5.
Right, no, I'm going to say this, Staci. We know there are still social workers who are good, decent, honest people.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I've got to stay balanced, even though I'm passionate.
Yeah. But we know there are good, decent, and honest social workers around. Now, we try not to paint everybody with the same. We try not to paint them with the same paintbrush or tar them with the same brush. We know that these decent social workers are getting very frustrated and being very worried, because obviously these psychotic and psychopathic morons are engaging in child abduction, child trafficking, providing children to satisfy the paedophilic excesses of certain parts of society. Now, I wouldn't mind betting that these good social workers feel very frustrated and they don't know who to turn to. Well, I'm going to say this: there are people you can turn to. You can speak with anonymity, and you can help bring down this corruption that's going on. There are people you can go to, like the UK column, the one you're listening to now. If you want to stay anonymous, that's fine, because the more people you tell, the more people are going to get to know about it, and the quicker something can be done about it.
Absolutely.
Saying nothing and doing nothing, it means you are basically allowing it to continue. So if you just need that little push, then remember there are websites where you can leave something anonymously. You've also got the UK Column, which is an independent alternative media. You've also got Unity Peace Patrol News, and you've also got a lot of Facebook groups who deal with things like that. But please, please, please don't suffer in silence, and crying out loud, don't allow this to carry on any longer, because the longer you leave it to carry on, the more children and the more families are going to be destroyed by these criminals. And I'm sorry, but I'm afraid they are criminals. When I see, police officers who go to these so-called removals, a lot of them don't even want to be there. It traumatizes the police officers as much as it traumatizes the families. I'm just waiting for a police officer to think, fuck this, pull out a taser and taser the bloody social worker. I can see it coming. I can see a police officer saying, right, fuck this, get out of this house, or I'll fucking taser you. And I can see them tasering a bent social worker.
I think the thing is, I've always said to anyone that's come to me and said, Stacey, got social services, and they come to me, Michael, the way I've had people come to me, it's been very sheepish, very scared. Like, listen, record them, but it's against the law too. I'm like, what, in your own house? No, it's not.
I'll tell you something I've noticed, Stacey. They come to you feeling very scared, very apprehensive, but once you just reassured them, actually, there is something you can do, and actually what they are doing is wrong, and this is how you can deal with it. And I've seen people kind of walk away looking much more confident, and realizing that the power to get out of the situation they find, actually they feel empowered. And when they get another letter from some thieving banker saying, "Oh, look, this is what they've said," right? Okay, we'll send them a letter saying, "Right, where is it? Where's your proof?" And then you just let them hang themselves, and you just let the banker hang themselves and say, "Right, you haven't produced a single shred of evidence. You've got 24 hours. Then we're going to bring the bar down on you." And I'll tell you something, the look on a person's face when they get that, they kind of knock at the door and they're kind of saying, "Yeah, they back down."
Oh God, when they back down, it is the biggest buzz I think you'll ever get. I had one today where it's the same person. Basically, what happened was I called the council 4 hours before the court time and said, "Listen, this lady wants to make a repayment plan of £5 per week. Is that okay?" And they said, "Yes, and we'll take the court costs off as well." So with that recording alone, I've got them. So if they have gone and got that liability order, it's proved invalid, because how can you go for a liability order for free?
It actually costs them £3.
They said it's a gesture of goodwill, and I went, this was exactly my words. No, it's not a gesture of goodwill at all. What it is that you know that I am right. That's what the gesture is. And she went, "No, it's not." I begged to differ. I went, "Are you legally trained?" She said, "No." And I says, "Well then, so do not tell me that I am incorrect when I know for a fact I am. Check out what I'm saying is true." And I even told her about all the evictions that I've undertook. And even I've had a eviction suspended for 28 days, which was brilliant. And that was within the hour of the eviction. Yeah, I had 3 days to prepare for it, but not the point. 1 hour before.
Yeah, if I could just interject there a minute, Stacey. I remember that one because I was kind of up to the small hours of the morning helping Staci fine-tuned the skeleton argument. You're not familiar with the term skeleton argument. It's a very brief resume of why a judge should find in favour of you or your the person you're helping. It's nothing about two skeletons having a barney with each other. And Staci is one of those people who has got a natural flair for justice and also for legal matters. It's a very rare gift to have, but she has it. And when she went into courts on that morning, presented her skeleton argument to it was a district judge, I believe, wasn't it, Staci?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, the district judge obviously looked through it. He looked through it and he said, and correct me if I'm wrong, Staci, this skeleton argument is well written. I'm impressed.
What was it? What he actually said was, I received a really well written skeleton argument, and looked at me, and I went, "That was me, sir." And he went, "Okay, cool." Like, he basically said, "Okay, cool," and carried on talking, which was quite good, really. It was not just in this case. I mean, I can't take credit for an eviction that me and another lady stopped. That was 2 days before the eviction. He actually turned around, and this was a circuit, I believe. He said, "Oh, I received this very very well written skeleton argument, and it had the current legislation in it, and everything was right." So
there was one when you got in front of a judge and they'd said that. I didn't know. I thought it was a district judge. I didn't know it was a circuit judge.
no, this was the one that was local to me. That was previous.
Yeah.
That was previous. If you know which one I'm talking about, that was the one.
I think another one you mean. Yeah. Anybody who's listening is not familiar with the way the courts work, the judiciary are in the courts. In a civil court, you've got basically 3 levels of judge. You've got a deputy district judge, a district judge, and a circuit judge.
No, hang on. I thought circuit was below. I'm having a brain fart here, Michael, because usually I'm quite dead on the button, but
yeah.
I think
usually you'll find there is a circuit judge either in charge of that of the larger court. There will be a circuit judge who's the senior judge.
Yeah, that was my brain fart.
He'll supervise the other judges, but
it was a
in the smaller courts, normally the senior judge will be you usually have some district judges and deputy district judges, and then there'll be a circuit judge who's the next level up.
Yeah,
they'll kind of work between 2 or 3 different courts. Now, where I am, there is a resident circuit judge in the Crown Court. He's the justice for the Plymouth area. His name is Judge Paul. His Honour Judge Paul Darlow. He's a chief justice for Plymouth. He sits in the Crown Court, and there's some other judges as well who can move around. With the county court, which is in the same building, there is a circuit judge who works between Plymouth and Exeter county courts.
All right.
So yeah, but there are the bigger courts. The bigger courts they have got a full-time circuit judge, but the small where you've got say 2 or 3 smaller courts on a circuit, which is how courts are arranged around the country. You might have one circuit judge, say, covering 2 or 3 courts within that on that circuit, and another one covering another 2 or 3 county courts on another part of the circuit. Above them, that's when you've got your high court judges. You got deputy high court judges, high court judges, and then you've got masters. And the masters, you'll only find those in the Queen's Bench division. And Queen's Bench, they deal mainly with what's called common law. It's contracts, money claims, repossessions of property, land repossession, things like that.
Yeah.
Chancery, that deals mainly with business and financial matters, certain property, land and property, what they call real estate matters.
Yeah.
But they're completely different. They're part of the Queen's Bench division, but if you go onto the justice.gov.uk website and go on to the Royal Courts of Justice, it explains very, very simply how the different divisions are arranged at the Royal Courts of Justice in London.
Yeah.
But the one that a lot of people tend to come into contact with is Queen's Bench Division, or the Queen's Bench of the Queen's Bench Division.
Yeah. See, it was a district judge. I do apologise. That did say that our argument was really good, and it was really, really well written, and they had the current legislation in there that was absolutely spot on and correct. So
yeah, because whether they're in the county court, or whether in a civil court or a criminal court, a district judge has to have been in practice as either a solicitor or a barrister for a minimum of 7 years. So you're not dealing with somebody who really and truly just come out of law school, or has only just kind of finished their articles and become a full solicitor. No, these people have got to be in full-time practice as a solicitor, a fully fledged solicitor, for a minimum of 7 years. So I mean, these people are qualified and their time served. I mean, you also get circuit judges who a lot of them are QCs or have got specialist knowledge. Some you get in the technology and construction court. They've worked as building surveyors or quantity surveyors in the construction industry for a number of years, and then they've taken a law degree, a postgraduate law degree, and they have then become judges, specialist judges. And there is one up on the northeastern circuit called Honour Judge Mark Rayside QC, and he is a specialist. He was a surveyor in the building industry before he became a lawyer, and he is from what I've heard of him, he's a very fair judge, very pleasant man, and he gives very balanced judgments. And he won't automatically side with the barristers or solicitors. He'll listen to both sides, and he'll say, right, okay, let's come down on the side of the one who had really and truly is being straight with me. And that's the sort of judge you want. And sadly, he's a part-time judge. If he was a full-time judge, I think we see a lot of these bogus repossessions sort of knocked on the head. But there you go.
Absolutely. I think with everything that's been going on, I mean, tomorrow me and Josh are going down to London. Woohoo! London. Do you know what? I've got family in London, so it's quite cool. But I'm quite excited because I'm going to meet some really cool people. Somebody that's actually, I've never been to a protest before, so I've been given someone's number and he said, listen, when you get down there, give us give your mobile number. We've got numbers now, and we've swapped them. And he said, right, give us a ring when you're there, and I'll see you there. And I'm sure we'll bump into each other. So that was cool. So yeah, it's all about being in unity. Do you know what I mean? Because I think at the end of the day, you know, I mean, what can I say? You know, I mean, I've never been to one of these. I'm quite hyped up. I'm quite excited, but at the same time, I'm as common purpose in Corby Borough Council are right now. I'm cacking my pants. But we're going to stand together in solidarity. That's what it's all about. And to anyone that's listening at GCHQ,
you're not invited.
You're not invited for one. Yeah. The second one is if you are, or any of the police dressed up as a protester, I would personally throw them back at the police and say, one of yours, get them to fuck.
Yeah, can I just kind of say something there, Staci?
Oh yeah.
We do know that there are agent provocateurs who get into these protests in order to whip up trouble and to try and make it look as if it's the protesters who are kicking off. Well, I'm sorry, but the last protest I was in London, we know damn well it was the police who started it. And believe in me, people are going to be on the lookout for you. And in Germany, when they have people kick off, and it showed they were agent provocateurs, they were just grabbed hold of, bundled across to the police, and literally pushed at the police. One of yours, sort them out. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen. So don't even think of putting adult provocateurs in with the protesters, because they'll be very quickly rumbled, and they will be grabbed hold of. They may be put in an arm lock, they'll be taken over to the police, and they'll be pushed at the police and say, right, sort them out.
We will.
So don't even think of pulling a stunt like that, because they'll be very quickly rumbled and they'll be dealt with. They won't be beaten up. They will be taken over to the police, and they will be handed over to them.
And probably arrested under Section 24A of PACE and Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act.
If they are serving police officers,
yep,
and they are trying to incite any form of unrest, then the protesters are within their rights, and they've got the power under Section 24A of PACE, as Staci has said. The protesters got the power to arrest those adult provocateurs. So just remember that.
Absolutely.
That law, the laws of the land, can be turned around on those who seek to enforce them when they break them.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I even turned around and told Corby Borough Council that I would probably be coming in and arresting Linda Ipkiss of misconduct in public office, because I'd have proof of that.
Yes, I believe there was a funny sort of the other end of the phone.
Yeah, she kept very quiet, and she said, "No, you can't do that. We can protect her." Say, "Well, you'll be getting as well."
If they prevent a person who's committed a crime, if they try to protect her and prevent her arrest, that is an offence in itself.
Yep. So, Michael, just a very quick one, just a question. I mean, I've never actually gone for a Section 24A of PACE yet. As soon as I mention it, they tend to cack themselves. But how would you actually go about? I mean, do you touch them on the shoulder and say, "You're under arrest," or do you actually read the caution?
It depends a lot on what they've done and whether they are likely to abscond. I mean, if they're punching hell out of somebody, you've got to get in there quick and basically restrain them before they hurt the person they're assailing, and also before they hurt other people. And sometimes you have to do it. And what you do is, when you grab hold of them, you say, "I'm arresting you for whatever offence it is."
Right.
You have to take hold of them. It's a symbolic way of saying, "Right, I've got control of you now." Even if you're just taking hold of their arm or putting a hand on their shoulder, that's just to say, "Right, I've got control of you now." And you say the magic words, "I'm arresting you for whatever offence it is."
You don't read the caution, because that's a constable's caution, isn't it?
Well, it is a caution that is given by a police officer, but the new one they've got isn't compliant with Article 6 of the European Convention on Human Rights. The one we used to use when I was a policeman was one under what was called Judge's Rule, which was a forerunner of the Criminal Procedures Rules.
Right.
And the wording of it was, the initial caution when you arrested somebody is, you do not have to say anything, but anything you do say may be given in evidence. It was short and simple, and it complied with Article 6 of the European Convention on Human Rights. Now, when they were charged, or when they may be prosecuted, there was a second caution we used to give them, and it went along the lines of, "Do you wish to say anything? You do not have to say anything, but anything you do say will be taken down in writing and may be given against you as evidence." Now, again, that is compliant with Article 6. The one they brought in, that Michael Howard brought in, which goes along the lines of, "You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence," that actually has destroyed the right to silence, which is an essential sort of part of Article 6 of the European Convention on Human Rights. The fact is that caution doesn't even comply with international law, so I don't know why police officers say it. It's a waste of breath, because it's brilliant. If we went before an international court will throw the case and say, "Sorry, you deprive them of their right not to self-incriminate."
So you remain silent, like say I don't know, I was to get arrested, yeah, and I remained silent. What
Well,
could
you see, Howard, Michael Howard, or Lord Howard as he likes to call himself now, according to him, the court can draw an inference of your guilt from your silence. Crap. You have a right to silence under international law. It's called the European Convention on Human Rights. If a judge wants to take an inference from it, then really and truly, the judge has got to be careful, because a judge is subject to Section 6 of the Human Rights Act 1998. If the judge tends to sort of assume that person's guilty when there's no evidence to actually back up any of the arguments that have been put forward by the prosecution, then potentially that judge is acting unlawfully, and possibly they're acting illegally, because they have to listen to all the evidence, good and bad. But there is nothing in law, in international law, that says you've actually got to say a thing. You can go through an entire interview saying no comment.
Yeah, I've done that before. I've known family members to do that themselves, just say no comment, no comment, no comment, no comment, and they couldn't do anything. They've actually said we can't do anything on that, so they've had to let them go.
They can't.
We've had to let them go.
And they know it.
And I'm not saying that goes for every single case. I mean, if the evidence is overwhelming, I'm sure you would have to say something.
One thing I will say, with a case when the police, talking on from the aspect of a police officer, I mean, it's not just what you see. I mean, there are other elements to a case that have to sort of kind of taken into consideration before it even gets to court. You've got your forensics, like blood, body fluids,
cigarette ends as well.
Cigarette butts, DNA, things like that have to be taken. You have to be able to prove that that person committed that offence. You can't. You've arrested somebody and you haven't got any evidence. You put that person in front of a court, and the court says, "Sorry, this person, you can't prove this person committed an offence." Case dismissed. If you're a police officer, you could be facing the sack. You could be facing prison yourself. And if you're a member of the public, then you could be facing charges of assaults, kidnapping. The police try to say, "Oh, wait, let us do the arrest." Sometimes that's not always possible, because if they're not there, then. And sometimes you've got to stop that person absconding, especially if they committed a serious assault or they committed a robbery. The robbery can be as basic as mugging someone. Mugging is not an actual offence; it's a colloquial term to describe robbery, a street robbery, where they stomp you in the face and then snatch your handbag. That's called robbery. If they succeed in grabbing your handbag, that's robbery. If they don't, because you kicked them in the nuts and they're kind of limping away, that's called assault with intent to rob, or kind of assault with. Yeah, well, I was going to make a joke, but I thought better not. I might get into trouble. But no, no. But robbery is a very serious matter.
It is very serious.
If you are considering committing a mugging, I'll give you a little clue as to what the maximum penalty is. You could be facing up to 20 to 30 years inside one of Her Majesty's holiday camps. The maximum penalty for robbery, and even attempted robbery, or even assault with intent to rob, is a maximum of life imprisonment. When you hear of armed robbery, there is no such offence as armed robbery. It is robbery because there's a use of force, but there's also offences under the Firearms Act which come into play. One of them is possessing a firearm with intent to commit an indictable offence, and the other one that they tend to include is possessing a firearm with intent to endanger life. So they get those thrown at them as well as the robbery charges, so they kind of go in front of the judge in the Crown Court, because they are quite serious offences. They have to be heard.
Rebooking into Her Majesty's Hotel.
Yes. Yeah, so they're normally, when they've committed an armed robbery, they can be facing anything up to 2 or maybe 4 charges of indictments, and they're quite serious indictments.
Right. So, do we have any messages for GCHQ?
Suck my dick.
I wish you'd pick something different.
I ain't got anything different.
Oh, come on. You're meant to be the comedy cameraman.
Yes, saying suck my right. Yeah, I've got something to say. Look, GCHQ. We know you're spying for the Americans, and we know the NSA, in America, are doing it on behalf of the British government. It doesn't make a slightest bit of difference who's doing it, but spying on people is illegal under international law, and you will be made to pay when you stand in front of 12 of your peers and you face the music for what you've done. Don't think you're just going to get away with this, and don't think you're going to walk away with it. Nobody's going to say anything, because retribution will come, and justice will come, and you will face it. And you may not see the outside world for quite some time.
And then you'll get put in Her Majesty's Hotel, and some big bloke will come up to you in the shower.
Hey.
No. We do not encourage that sort of.
No, wouldn't encourage
sort of
that.
thing, even in one of Her Majesty's hotels.
Yeah, the rest of it, you know, I mean, the rest of it they can imagine themselves.
Yes. Yes, basically, don't bend over to pick up the soap.
I think that's what Josh was trying to say.
What?
Yes.
Yes.
But no, don't think that you've got immunity from prosecution. You have not. Because if you spy on somebody, and there's no good saying, "Oh, well, we've got legislation." If the legislation is contrary to international laws, then it doesn't matter whether you're spying on another country or you've committed the offence in this country, and those who've made the decision to tell the Americans to spy on the British people, the offence has been committed in this country.
And GCHQ, just remember one thing: don't drop the soap, big homie.
Yes, and just remember that building, that concrete donut at Cheltenham, is not going to be there for much longer, because sooner or later the bulldozers are going to go in and they're going to flatten it.
Yeah,
you won't be in when they do that. You won't be in there when they do that, but it will be razed to the ground. And steps will be taken to make sure that it can never ever be used for that sort of thing ever again.
And that's nothing to do with us domestic extremists or whatever we're called.
Yeah. And
I thought it was terrorists.
Can I just say something about that a minute?
Yeah, we're terrorists.
Yeah, if you think it's clever to call us domestic extremists or domestic terrorists or economic terrorists for telling people the truth of what's going on, that shows what sick mind you've got.
Yep.
We're not. If you want to see the real economic terrorists, well, they're in the City of London and in most high street banks. Not the bank staff themselves, but their senior management. And as for domestic extremists and terrorists, well, just also look in the Palace of Westminster as well, because you've got them there as well.
Yep. Indeed. I think this wraps up our broadcast of Unity Peace Patrol News. But do you have any advice for the protesters, Michael, of your Oracle?
Yes, certainly. Certainly, Staci. Guys, and also includes ladies as well.
Yeah.
Keep it peaceful. When I say keep it peaceful, I mean, yes, you will be shouting slogans like, Josh has got a habit of saying to GCHQ, yeah, don't say that, otherwise you will get arrested. Keep it peaceful. Don't get involved in violence other than justifiable violence. If one of these adjunct provocateurs decides to kick off and you decide to grab him and kind of drag him over to the police, yeah, that's fine. Don't engage in any criminal damage. You're playing right into the police's hands. If the police try to wind you up, just walk away from them. Don't tell them to go take their face for a shot. Just say, go away. I'm not going to play that game. Go away. No, I know you want to tell them to take their face for a shake, but that's playing into their hands. If you've got a phone with a camera, or you've got one of these little mini GoPro cameras, yeah, make sure you can watch what the police are doing with it, because that footage could be very, very valuable if the police try to claim that they were attacking. In fact, they're the ones doing the attacking. Now, I understand that there are going to be people, what they call guerrilla filmmakers. Now, guerrilla filmmakers doesn't mean they're dressed in a gorilla suit holding a camera. No, it basically means that they have got little cameras like phone cams or GoPro cameras. What they're doing is they are filming raw I know you said raw sewage. They're filming raw footage. Some of these cameras, like particularly those that use the mobile networks, like Bambuser, those can be very, very useful because you're seeing almost a live picture. There's a slight delay on them to see exactly what's going on. But the biggest bit of advice I'm going to give is keep it peaceful, and don't give the police any calls to start behaving like a bunch of thugs. If they want to behave like a bunch of thugs, make sure they can't grab hold of you. If they do try to grab hold of you, 3 or 4 of you grab a hold of them, put them on the floor, back to the floor, not face down. Don't pile in on top of them because you could kill them. And then make sure you've got them restrained, get them to their feet, and then just take them and push them straight into their mates. But yeah, I mean, if the police want to play dirty, play clean, but give them a taste of their own medicine. And make sure you've got the moral high ground above them. Don't let them think they've got the moral high ground. That's the best advice I can give.
Yeah, definitely. I've never been to a protest before, but I'm just gonna breathe in and absorb and to gain more knowledge. That's why I'm there, and plus to shout my fucking head off. You know, I think it's something that's going to be pretty cool here. You know, there's going to be lots of people there, so you know, David Cameron, Iggle Piggle, whatever your fucking name is. Yeah, you're fucked. In other words, expect us. Expect a lot of us.
I mean, Iggle Piggle is going to have to. Yeah, I'm looking at this photo, Staci. My God, he does look like Iggle Piggle, doesn't he?
What, that one that's in the V for Vendetta?
Yeah, the one where you kind of got this sort of thin face in the Guy Fawkes mask. Yeah, she does look like Iggle Piggle a lot.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, my message to David Cameron is, look, we all know you're a wanker. So, I mean, you get up and out of Commons and prove you're one.
That's an insult to wanker.
We don't want you as our Prime Minister anymore. We know you're corrupt. We know that you're being controlled by the bankers. We know the bankers are causing a lot of the problems. They're corrupt as well. We want you out.
Calling David Cameron.
Do us all a favour and resign.
Calling David Cameron is an insult to wankers.
Yes. Perhaps you might even get nominated as top tosser of the week. Thank you very much.
Right, so do we have any, before we do conclude and go for a song of Stick the New World Order Up Your Arse? It is it. He's going, it's not it. I'm like, yeah, I like that one.
We had planned.
I know we planned, but you know what Unity Peace Patrol News, it's never planned. Nothing ever goes to plan. Sorry, a bit of a we're gonna go to a song for you. I can't even remember what I was bloody sick. See you little.
Don't fucking blame me. It's your fault for not sticking to the plan.
But we don't have to have a plan. It's live, it's unedited, and it's uncut, so everybody can hear you and hear me going at you. Michael, do you know what I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by the cameraman here?
About the plan.
I think you're about to tell. What was it? About some song or another.
Hey.
You were going about some song about the New World Order and sticking it up your rectum.
Yeah. I said that with such feeling. What did I say with such feeling?
Where's when you said, right, well, we're all going to sing, you can stick the New World Order up your arse.
Yeah, we're going to have a sing for stick the New World Order up your ass, because I think that's something that's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very appropriate.
Yeah, it's very rousing. Yeah, not rabble rousing, just rousing.
And you'll like it as well, Josh. I don't think you've heard it before.
I have.
Not all of it.
Yes, I have.
Hang on a minute. So here we go with Unity Peace Patrol News. And GCHQ, because I can, because I know I might not be able to do it to want some of your bent cops tomorrow, take your face for a shite.
You can stick your New World Order up your ass. You can stick your New World Order up your ass. You can stick your New World Order when the sun don't shine, but also stick your New World Order up your ass. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. We don't be arrested in a dressing gown. We don't be arrested in a dressing gown. We don't be arrested in a. She is such a sinner. She'll be arrested in a dressing gown. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails and the evil plant bills. Blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. You can stick your poison vaccines up your ass. You can stick your TV programs up your ass. You can stick your GMO foods. We ain't gonna go school. Stick your Georgia Gastones up your ass. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. Oh, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Oh, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Oh, I'd rather be a human. Don't you know that you can rather be a human than a slave? You can stick your New World Order up your ass. You can stick your New World Order up your ass. You can stick your New World Order when the sun don't shine, but also stick your New World Order up your ass.
Well, it's that's from Daz Nez of well, not of Unity Peace Patrol News, but I'm sure he'd be pretty cool to have on. There's quite a few people that I'd like to have on Unity Peace Patrol News, but I don't know. I don't think they'd like it that we I think they'd like it that we insult people in the establishment. Yeah, it's a bit of this is what we're all about, isn't it? A bit of comedy, a bit of laughter, a bit of fun, but we get serious as well. So anyway, GCHQ, again, always a pleasure to have you listening in on us and spying on us. And David Cameron, be warned. And we're going live, sorry, one more thing. I'm going live on Bambuser tomorrow. It will be posted either on my personal Facebook, and my husband, Dan, will have access to my Facebook. So if anything should happen down at the protest that you feel I need to be aware of, then message my Facebook. Anything goes wrong and I'm involved, or Josh the cameraman, comedy cameraman's involved, then please message my Facebook if you are on it. Oh, you got anything to say before we shoot off?
Yeah, got a message for GCHQ.
Oh, not again.
No, you're not.
Shut up, you whippersnapper. Anything?
Suck my Plexadeck.
I think if he was like had his own laptop with his own Google account, I think I would have kicked him by now.
That's cool. I just won't join the broadcast.
Yeah, I've got this to say to common privacy.
Yep.
You've been getting away with it for too long.
Yep.
We now know how you're operating. We know who's doing it, and we're coming after you.
Expect.
You've got two choices. You either cut it out and leave people alone, or we are going to take you down, and we will take you down in the most horrible way. It doesn't mean we're going to hurt you or physically attack you. We won't do that. We're above that. But we will damn sure you spend a lot of years inside a prison cell.
Absolutely.
So either stop it now, or you're going to end up in prison.
Indeed. Well, anyway, this is Stacey McLennan of Unity Peace Patrol News on the eve of the revolution, and looking forward to seeing some wicked people tomorrow, and you'll obviously see us on Bambuser. So anyway, take care and good night.